guys. There she go. She's always doing something. I'm glad you guys caught her. So you don't think I'm being mean when you see that she's always doing something. All right, let me set my timer. Hi guys. It's me, Cindy, one of the two poly chicks. It's your two poly chicks back at you. Today, Tiffany, I love your shirt. I love that color.
Thank you. It's Earth Day.
She put it in the scenes of her background of her flower tree thing, and then her shirt, because guys, we're celebrating Earth Day.
Yes, we have the birds, the flowers, and then I know you have on a shirt with Nati Garden.
It's called, let me show you. Don't look at my desk back there, guys. It's messy.
Nati Garden.
Nati Garden. It's a store. It's a black guy. I don't know if he's Jamaican or not, but it's called the Nati Garden. It's a nursery, so I went there to get one of my plants. I don't even want to say it because she's here. I don't know if she's gonna make it. I've had her over 25 years.
Oh wow.
And I was in a depression for about a week and a half, and I went to him and I was like, "You're gonna have to help me." So he gave me some root stimulator, and she's looking like she might not make it. And so it's a peace lily. So I'm trying to get my head around her not being around anymore. And it was given to me by Kent.
Oh man,
Kent gave me that. So
wow. It's an emotional tie to that.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
man.
Trying to hold
on. Let's see, the root stimulator may work, and we'll come on and praise his products, right?
Yes. And I want to have him on because he's doing his thing. He has a beautiful garden. He sells all kind of stuff. He sells beautiful pot. If my room wasn't such a mess over there, I would show you the pot that I bought from him for $50. But I was like, I buy stupid stuff all the time for $100 and for this. So I was like, but anyway, Earth Day, we really, at first, Tiffany, in full disclosure, I didn't really care about the topic. I really didn't care to do it. It's like one of those things, I guess. It's like talking about something that, it's not salacious. It's not, there's no gossip involved in it. It's just like talking about peace or something, which is a good thing. You want it. But when I started looking at the videos of it,
it's like you want it, but you don't want to be let someone else.
And I know people may, even when they're watching this, be like, I had an Earth Day. But one of the things I thought was fascinating about the topic was that it seems like it's a young people thing. Like people that are younger tend to be more involved and thinking about what to do for the earth and stuff. And people that are older are just like, I don't know if that's a fair assessment, but it seems like it. But what I thought about before we go to the topic, was this is one of my favorite movies called The Mist. You ever saw that movie?
Never saw it. Never.
It's about the trees. It's about the climate. It's a good movie about the climate and how it's affected by how it's affecting people.
Okay.
And how, the earth is, the plants and stuff are reacting and then spraying out this mist and it's making people go crazy. And it's because it's trying to reset the balance.
Okay.
So people that understand the earth and the power of the earth understand that that when the moon is in a certain way, people are moodier, people are crazier, a little nuttier. We see stuff going on right now. I was like, is this related to the climate? I mean, I know we blame COVID for a lot of stuff.
Is this a full moon? Is it a full moon today?
Exactly.
So that has some validity to it. When people
ask, so you should care about the earth.
Yeah. And Earth Day, it started in 1970, so it's like 40, no, is it 50 years old? I think it's 50 years old. 51.
I'm gonna be doing the math, right? So
it's 51. So and it basically was a call to public consciousness to discuss the state of our planet. Now, I don't know, I know the founder
51 years.
Yeah, 51 years. So if you think about the ecology of it, the ecology, when you look at the definition of that, it's the relation of all living things, which includes trees, people, animals, the relation and how it comes together to within their physical surroundings. So the relationship between us and the trees and the people and the animals,
Right.
it's all living things. So when people feel Earth Day and they're thinking, oh, well, it doesn't affect me because it's only talking about animals, trees, or this, but it all affects it affects us. The trees give us oxygen, right? So
yeah. I was looking, I was looking at that video, the video you linked in, and I was looking at another video, and it was just talking about the relationship between the trees, oxygen. Trees take in the bad air, CO2, and then they give you oxygen. And they even say how in your house, when your plants are negatively impacted by your energy, and how your house feels better when I'm a plant person. I love plants. So I love plants.
I need to start getting plants, but I'm not like
plants change the energy in your house. So so when you think about Earth Day, the thing about Earth Day, which I read about the 1970s, the thing that it was in the 1970s. I know they said he spent like 10 years developing this idea of an Earth Day. Yeah. And the other thing was just that it's about planting a tree and teaching people it's about education and planting a tree, or focusing on recycling, reteaching us about recycling. I'm gonna admit I'm bad with recycling too. I'm bad.
Yeah, we're kind of like in our neighborhood, we're kind of forced to recycle. I don't know if they would ever look through our garbage, but you can get fined. And I know a lot of places.
Yeah, you can get fined here too. Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe if we don't maybe the way they find out is if we don't ever put things in recycling for when they come to pick it up. I was like, how do they know?
If you bury it, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it because you got to buy the separate bags and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're all guilty of doing something to the earth that for our own needs and our own pleasures, we take advantage of. Right. And I know one of the things that people have problems with is the leaded gas and the inefficient automobile. So you want to build, I know the electric cars are, not a thing that people really like, but when you think about the smog and the smoke that comes out of those vehicles, just think about that sky. Think about the sky looking like the smoke that comes out of the exhaust of some of these vehicles. Just imagine that goes into the air and it goes somewhere. It doesn't just evaporate. So over time, it creates an issue within the earth and within the breathing atmosphere. So,
but what I was trying to think of, I was like, why is it that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party has such different ideas of whether it's true about Earth Day and whether the climate is really changing? And I'm like, it all comes down to money, because with fracking, right? Fracking is the digging under the ground and looking for oil, I guess, or looking for whatever. And it's causing these shifts and it causes earthquakes. And the other side is like the progressives are more like, we shouldn't be doing fracking. We should be moving toward clean air. And you remember when Biden's the debate they had with the president, with the ex-president, and the debate, and he was like, I want to get rid of emissions. And he was like, you just killed your chance at the presidency. What he really is saying is there's a lot of jobs like in the they call it the coal belt, like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Those states rely heavily on things like, coal, I guess, or whatever, and that's not good for the climate. It's not.
Right, it's not good. But then think about this, because I know no one wants to lose their job. No one wants to, not be able to feed their family. So I always say when you get rid of certain things, it's an opportunity to be trained on the new thing that's being brought in its place. Like I was looking, my son and I, not my son, man and I, we were coming from the airport yesterday, and we were looking, there were no toll booth operators. And we're like, well, is that part of the pandemic? But they've been slowly getting rid of toll booths.
The tolls have been going away for a long time.
Right. So then it gets rid of a job, but it also creates an opportunity for you to go into the technological part of the toll, and specifically that, let's say the toll industry, it gives you the opportunity to go into that. So, I mean, think about where we are now versus 30 years ago. People don't use, we have the internet. Just let's say 100 years ago, we didn't have the internet back then. And the internet got rid of some jobs that, like the secretarial need, it got rid of that. It got rid of the people needing to be in a specific place. So you're getting rid of certain jobs, but it's creating other opportunities.
And that's the thing that they're talking about with the youth. Why they want to focus on the youth doing it, because they're trying to get the youth to be more create better jobs that have more to do with saving the environment. But on the same token, that's the reason why you have such pushback, because the people that are in factories and stuff like that tend to be in their 40s, maybe 50s, not the younger generation. So they're like, I understand the climate may need some things, but I got to make money right now. Like, I got to make money
and learn a new skill. And I don't want, I'm too old to learn a new skill and go into a new job, which is understandable. That has some weight to it too. And that's why it's such a big conundrum, because it's like, well, you have these people. And remember, Hillary Clinton had made that statement. She said, yeah, we're going to get rid of it. And it sounded callous, but eventually we won't be working with poles, just like we don't have antennas for TVs anymore. Like
we just don't have you shouldn't get in any job and think you're going to be there forever. I mean, I was looking at the new bills that were out, and a lot of them are addressing like things now, but some of them are like, okay, emissions by 2050. When you think about it, that's 30 years from now. So it's not like around the corner. So you do have time to like develop. It's 30 years, 20 or 30. I think the bill is like, by this time we want to be able to have fully whatever. So slowly, it's not like everybody's gonna, but maybe it will put some people out immediately. But overall, I don't think it's gonna happen right away. But they're trying to
won't happen tomorrow. Like, it won't be as soon as the bill passes, you're out of work. It's a slow progression.
It's going to be slow. The other thing is sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, we can both agree that change is hard. We resist change in a lot of ways. We resist it. So that's understandable too. That it's like, I'm afraid of what's going to happen. So, but
when Dummy and Chief got out of office, I can't help it. He got, I actually agreed with him on the Paris Climate Agreement, the Paris Climate Accord. It's this agreement between a lot of the countries that says we're going to address the environment. But they had this list of pros and cons, and when you look at the cons of being in it, it seemed like America was being punished a lot, and there's no oversight. So like you're being fined.
Your whole is in the bag. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's like basically every country has this, the onus is on every country to enforce it and to pay the fines and to do whatever to address the climate, because the climate is, you remember it was sometime last year, there was a bunch of bats in Australia or somewhere. Thinking of Australia.
I think it was Australia. I feel like it was Australia. It was Australia. I feel like it was Australia.
There was fires in Australia. Remember the fires?
Yeah, and think about the hurricanes and how when you think about, I mean, there's hurricanes every year, but this year we are like in the Greek alphabet trying to name hurricanes. And
remember Puerto Rico was just like every few weeks was having a hurricane. Look at what happened in Texas recently with the snowstorm in Texas. Like they really literally are melting snow to get heat and to get food. Like there's no food, there's no electricity.
And I'm gonna read something, because I feel like people, when they see climate change or they hear, okay, well, the climate is changing, they're thinking, oh, well, it was hot yesterday and it was cold yesterday. And it's like, you're thinking, well, if the weather, I don't see a big shift in the weather, there's no climate change. So the weather refers to the atmospheric conditions that occur locally over short periods of time. So from minutes to hours to days. And, you have rain, snow, clouds, all of that other stuff. But the climate is the referral to the long-term regional or global average of temperature. So long-term, when you talk about the humidity, the rainfall, the season, it's not over like a day where you see it here and there. It's over a long period of time. So when we hear what do you say? They say 1 degree. We're thinking, well, that's not hot. But over a period of time, it just continues to increase. And if we don't stop it or rectify it or mitigate those issues, eventually we're going to be having 130-degree days. So, and one other thing I wanted to point out is when they say the water rises inch or an inch level, think about
say
New
that
York
again.
City,
You breaking up. Say that again. You breaking up. Say that again.
When you think about, no, I was saying which part? Because which part?
You said the water rising. You said the water rising, and then you started breaking up.
Okay, so when they talk about the sea level, it's rising an inch. I think I didn't write that part down, but it's rising an inch. And when they talk about it, they talk about inches. So inches are really, really small, right? But when you think about New York City, Manhattan is built on water. It's built on water, and not just like it's.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's built completely on water. So when the sea level is rising, it's on water, it's built on that. It can have effects on the buildings there. That's why, remember when 9/11 happened, they were looking to make sure that the water didn't come into basically into the city. Like we're gonna drown.
So, I remember when I lived in Coney Island, we had a storm one year, and in Coney Island, some of the apartment buildings, they don't start at the ground floor. They start several feet up. So there's like an underpass, like a bridge.
Yep.
And the water came up to the second apartment building, which is, that has to be, I don't know how many feet up. It's 10 people standing on top of each other couldn't have reached it. And the water came up there from the ocean. It came up there. So when you thinking climate change doesn't have anything to do with you, I remember last year I was taking a walk, and it was like February maybe. It was so hot. And I was like, people were outside in their shorts, and people were just jogging, because I live in a gentrified area. People just be jogging like it's nothing. And I was so sad. It had an effect on me, because I was like, people are celebrating this, and it's like you're celebrating at a funeral, because when the climate is not the way it's supposed to be, or the weather is not the way it's supposed to be, that there's a problem. So like right now, when you see in New York, it's freezing. It's 30 degrees in March. That's not good. So it's very depressing.
And when you think about it, it starts out as a day here, a day there. Because I remember it would be like, oh, it's a hot day. And then it wouldn't happen again for a little while. Then it would be like, oh, it's a cold day in the middle of the summer. And then it wouldn't happen. But now it's more of a succession of that event happening, those events. So it's like, it's crazy. I'm like, I know I had wrote about some of the companies, or put my notes on some of the companies that, they're resistant as well. But think about this: if we didn't have regulation on environmental atrocities, what would happen with the water? What would happen with them dumping? Look at what happened with Flint. We have to have regulations so that we can protect the environment in our region. So it's just,
there's a lot of new legislation. You're breaking up bad, Tiff. I don't know why. There's a lot of new legislation now. I know I wrote down Marco Rubio, Feinstein, Ernst, and different women, Klobuchar. They are all have new legislation out. Now, some of the legislation is trying to limit what Biden can do to address the climate. So like Marco Rubio, and they're trying to limit what he could do. And then there's the other side, like Klobuchar, and they are more progressive. And I don't know what's going on with Tiffany's screen. It's just completely black. I don't know if she's gone. I don't know, guys. Oh, she's gone, guys, and we're still recording. So what I'm gonna do is pause. I'm not gonna yammer. I'm gonna pause it. There she is.
Hey.
You're hosting now. I don't know if that affects recording or what.
No, it says it's still recording. So that's
I was saying there's a lot of new legislation out now that it's on both sides. Some side, Marco Rubio and they're trying to limit Biden's power to address the climate. And then there's Klobuchar, and Joni Ernst probably wants to limit too. Then there's Klobuchar and Feinstein. They have legislation out. One of the legislation I thought was interesting was the one on addressing how the climate is affecting women. They were saying it's affecting women, and there's a new legislation that came out in January about because women generally tend to be the ones with food, doing the food and being more aware of things. And so they were saying it's having a negative emotional and physical effect on women. And that women, which I didn't even know, there's different controversial numbers, but the percentage of women that are in poverty. And they're saying that because of the climate change, that's also affecting women. And I looked at the census, and women definitely have a higher poverty rate than men. So so they were saying climate change is affecting women, and mostly, of course, people of poverty. And mental and physical health is, like I said, when I saw that weather changing last year, I got really sad. Because I know that it's not supposed to snow in March. So not in New York City, but there's been times when I've seen it in the past years where it snows in March. I remember when I had my surgery 3 years ago in March, and it was a snowstorm when I was in, and I had it March 18th.
What seems par for the course? When I met David, baby daddy David, when I met him, it was in maybe 1993, and I remember specifically, I met him in March. We actually started dating March 11th for a man's birthday. And it was a snowstorm, a huge snowstorm during that time.
That's not normal.
I didn't know that. I didn't know, because it's still winter time, isn't it? When does spring begin?
Spring started yesterday.
Okay, so usually, what is it? March.
You should see you should begin to see an incline in your weather in New York. You should begin to see it get warmer. January and February are freezing, brick.
Yeah.
But then by March, in the beginning of March, you should see the temperature beginning to climb a little bit, at least the 40s, maybe 50. It was 20-something degrees the other day. And then yesterday was the first day of spring. Well, by the time we're taping this, guys, this is pre-tape. So they're going to be like, what, yesterday?
Oh, we're reviewing our
April. Oh, yeah, so Earth Day is always April 22nd. Earth Day, we tape ahead of time, guys. Earth Day is always April 22nd, and what I read that they said the reason why is because they wanted to do it. They didn't want it to affect spring break, and they wanted the kids to not have to take exams or anything, because they wanted the youth to be involved in it. So let's talk about some of the things you could do to address Earth Day. One of the things I was thinking about while I was actually doing it, I'm the culprit. Brushing my teeth with the water running.
Yep, I do that.
I'm guilty.
I'm gonna stop.
Ridiculous.
I'll stop.
It's ridiculous.
The
water sounds like music.
Yeah, you're just, and I mean, if you have one of those timers, you're doing it for 2 full minutes. And a lot of times, a lot of places don't have running water like that. So we're just exhausting the resources. But I think another thing we can do is begin recycling. We can start.
I'm guilty, guys. I'm so guilty of these things.
Me too. More recycling, and hopefully the legislation moves toward better efforts with the recycled product. So
yeah.
What else can we do? I know you talk about planting trees.
Planting. The naughty garden, naughty garden, naughty. Naughty.
What is this turning into?
No, I know, right? The naughty girl. There's a video we put in the special topics, and it's how to plant a tree. Okay. So you can decide how to. I know my friend, he goes to Prospect Park. And he planted a tree. He planted a few trees out there. So maybe a few. I might be lying, but I know at least one. He has a tree and he goes out there to visit it. I don't know. I don't want to. If he watches, he'd be like, I ain't planting no few. I don't know, but I thought. I know, right? I know. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure it was at least one tree planted in the park. And you can do it. I believe you can, there's places where you can. So there's a video I put out on how to plant a tree. Like you go to like a Home Depot or Lowe's, and it's probably so cheap. It's just a bag of dirt, the soil, and you just find a spot. So it's very cheap to plant a tree. So that's one of the things Earth Day teaches you. Another
So
thing I think, oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I'm gonna actually start buying plants for the house just to have
Yeah.
low maintenance plants because of what you said about the environment and the,
Yeah.
you know, the feeling behind it. Like, go ahead. What were you saying?
I think we throw out a lot of food. There's a lot of waste. So they were saying reduce waste. That was the other thing. Plant something, recycle, and reuse things, reduce waste. You can find double uses for things like, let me show you. This is my jar of Talenti. I used to love this ice cream when I was eating ice cream. I love Talenti brand. So I use this. I reuse this for my cocoa butter. So this is now my cocoa butter mix for my hands are always dry. So I have this for my hair and for my thing. So reusing things. Reusing things. There's your water, those plastic water bottles can be reused to put dirt in it and make planters out of it. So you could just like your basil, you want to have your house with some herbs in it, you could use those things. So there's a lot of reusable things.
Yeah, one of the things I did recently, I had gotten the idea from a girlfriend of mine that she has a candle company. Her candles come in these nice vases or nice jars, and we started reusing them for things around the house. Like one of them is a what do you call that? A pencil holder for Donnie. Yeah. You use them instead of buying something plastic, you reuse something that you've already had. So that's I like that idea of think of what you can reuse and how you can reuse things.
There's Prius. You can have a Prius car, which is low on emissions. There's other cars. Actually, there's a lot of tax cuts and discounts if you change your refrigerator or if you change your windows to make them more efficient. They give you money for those kind of, there's a lot of government funding for people to change like their change their heating system. Change your heating system to this. Get a different car. Change your appliances. There's a lot you could do. I'm guilty of, I know like there's this if you want to be extreme, there's what do you call that? They have those bidet things you get for your toilet to where you don't have to use tissue.
I like those.
So when you just get that, huh?
I said I like those. On a trip to, it seems like on a trip to Europe, and I hate sitting in this chair because it's always so creaky. But a trip to Europe, it seems like a lot of places have those. Like they have that instead of, well, they have tissue too.
Tissue. I hear they don't have a lot of tissue in the bathrooms. I hear they don't have tissue in the bathroom.
It's a lot of bidets. And when I sat on that thing, I think I was going to sit for.
Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Describe it.
I can't use it. I'm so embarrassed now. I used it and I was like, I love this thing.
So guys, a bidet, it's a device you attach to your toilet, right? So when you use the bathroom, you don't have tissue. Look at her smiling. Look at her. So the thing is like the water sprinkles on your parts. Can you imagine? You use the bathroom, you're like, you're like this. And you close your eyes and you forget where you are.
He said, how many times you I was like, I love this. I mean, I was so excited. I mean, I just want to go back to this one hotel just for the bidet. Like, that's it. I will stay in there all day. But we're way off topic. So yeah, recycle.
That's recycling.
Reuse. Reuse. I can't even get my together. Go. I'm sweaty now.
She look. I lost her. She's like.
I mean, okay. Go ahead. What else is on your list?
Okay. So there are, you don't have to use tissue and you can get yourself clean from a bidet. And then, okay, guys, we're not this silly. Okay. So those are some of the things you could do to really address. I know things like wipes. I feel guilty when I use wipes, and I wipe things, a wipeaholic, wiping things, spray cans, the emissions. So perhaps not using the Lysol spray and just using alcohol bottles and reusing them.
Yeah.
Instead of the Lysol spray, because you can't refill that on anything. You can't, once you finish with a Lysol spray bottle, you got to throw it out.
You're done. Yeah. That's true. That's true. So, I mean, recycle, think about what you're doing on a daily basis that you can do just to help the earth, just small things on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be a drastic change, but think about it. That's what
get you a bidet, guys. So I think I think that's it for our list. We talked about the planet, the recycling. She's going to find her a bidet. She's gonna go look up a bidet. Guys, thank you for joining us. And if you're in New York, visit the Naughty Garden.
Naughty Garden. And you said you put a video in the playlist about that as well, right? I'm
gonna put a video on how to plant a tree. Okay. I did it already. I did that. You put one about Nelson, who is the senator from Wisconsin that started Earth Day, who he was. Yeah. And then I think I put another video about what is Earth Day, but it's really just about education and learning about the planet, learning about the ecosystem, why it's important. When you see people out there acting a mess, hatching and butchering people and running around acting crazy, climate has a lot of effect on people of color, of everybody. And then there's a lot to do with, like I said, effects on women, effects on children with asthma. There's the things with asthma. This is all climate related. There could be probably related to ADD, hyperactivity from the climate, from your fruits and vegetables, pesticides, that kind of stuff, So guys, it's so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. We did say we were going to do an episode on environmental discrimination and how that affects certain neighborhoods and certain people. So just stay tuned. We're always looking to bring you interesting information. So where can they find us? At PolyChicks?
PolyChicks. I never Gmail. I always just remember the 2polychicks@gmail.com. On YouTube, obviously you're here. It's PolyChicks. Facebook we have a Facebook page, 2polychicks. Twitter, 2polychicks. And I know Instagram.
That's it.
Instagram is 2polychicks, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. So run out there and get you a bidet, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.